I don't know how this is going to work out for this organization, but I'm finding a lot of people talking about the XFL, and it's super fascinating. I think the XFL, which I don't know what it stands for, uh, very professional here. I want to say it's like Extreme Football League, but that doesn't make sense because Extreme starts with an E. But then again, it sounds like it starts with an X, Extreme. So maybe that's what it stands for. But I'm not too sure on that. So, um, but I'm very fascinated with the implications that the XFL is going to have, not just on the NFL. Like I don't think it's going to take any market share from the NFL, frankly, because well, I don't know. Well, hmm, I'm rattling around with ideas in my brain. Actually, I'm not using much of my brain. Not like the complicated parts today. I'm just kind of talking. It's been a good weekend. I've been feeling a lot better lately. Everybody, thank you for reaching out to me. The people who did. Before we get farther into this episode, please leave this podcast a 5-star rating and a written rating too on Apple Podcasts. I think we're up to like 21 5-star ratings, which is beautiful. And then please subscribe on YouTube, like the video on YouTube. That shows tremendous support for me. It helps grow the podcast, and it allows me to continue to post episodes because I know you guys are enjoying it. I enjoy doing it too, but I think it's awesome that you guys are enjoying the podcast. This episode, I might get into some complicated things. Maybe towards the end, I'm not too sure, but I have been extremely fascinated with this XFL. For a few reasons. One, it looks like it's gaining traction. I think so. I think the XFL tried to come around like a few years back in a time period right where social media wasn't as big as it is now, and I think this is when the XFL has done a good job on capturing the market at a time when social media is relevant. I said Revenant, like the bear movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. But it's a good time to come out because you can take. I've watched a little bit here and there. I was eating some Olive Garden and they had it on at the bar. I wasn't at the bar at Olive Garden. That would be a wild thing. Imagine going to Olive Garden and sitting at the bar and getting pasta and drinking beer at a bar. Like that's crazy. I guess you would do wine, but I digress. I'm going to digress a lot in this video. I'm just like my head is everywhere. It's the beginning of a new week. I got a new barber. Hopefully, his name is Sam, and he's at the. No, not going to say it. Not going to say it because I don't want it to give away his location. But his name's Sam, and I haven't even met the guy yet. But apparently, he's like a great barber, and my barber sucks. I have PTSD from my barber. I don't. I think I explained to you guys what happened last time. PTSD barber. I think I explained to you guys what happened last time. I haven't got a new haircut for I think 4 weeks now because last time I went, I had this lady cut my hair and she was. I don't think she should have been cutting hair. I think she needed actual help, like psychiatric help. She seemed a little schizophrenic. I think I don't know. I'm not diagnosing her. Clearly, I'm a stupid college kid. I don't know anything. But she would do. It took an hour and a half for her to basically just fuck up my hair, and it was really weird because she would do this thing where she would ask me questions, and then she would kind of like sing in between questions. So like, what's your name? Da 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 da. My name's blah blah blah. Like she asked you the questions, and then in a typical social event, I would respond with my name. My name's Michael, or Michael. First time here with you. I have, what's your name? But she didn't want to hear my response, so she like sang to herself. And then she would continue cutting my hair after she responded to her own question. And she has a knife in her. I mean, she's not a knife, but she has scissors and she has blades and stuff cutting my hair. She was telling me how like she cut the hair for like Bill Clinton and stuff, or like George Washington, or not George Washington, but like George Bush and like the entire entire soccer team or football team of DC. which I thought was fascinating because those guys get like really nice haircuts. You know, they get like shapes in their head and stuff. Like soccer players are very flamboyant when it comes to their head. And I don't mean flamboyant in a bad way. Maybe I do. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm not sure. But it was just a weird experience. And she was doing a good job, but she just never faded my haircut. Like she never faded it. It looked like it was going to get faded, but she just went skin all the way up. And then she kind of cut my hair on the side. And it's kind of, this might get me demonetized on this video, but I'm going to say it anyways, because this is the best way for me to explain it to people. My head looks like it's like Adolf Hitler's like side piece. Like that's what it looks like. Because I'm very German as it is. I think I'm like 4th or 3rd generation German or Polish, dude. I don't know. Like the lines are so blurred. I'm told things, and then like 2 years later, 5 years later, it comes back. No, you're actually from like Northern Africa. I'm like, no, I'm not. And they're like, yeah, you are. I'm like, okay, cool. They don't say that, but they, there's a lot of whatever. Like my mom told me something yesterday that I could not believe, and I still don't believe. Fuck, I don't know what it was. It's family stuff, so I probably won't share it, even if I remember. Or I could, because I'm really bad at not sharing things. Anyway, so I finally got a decent barber, hopefully. So Wednesday at 9:30. So the next podcast, I should have a good set of hair on my head. And he will kick ass. And I'm going to try to do it every 3rd week. I think that's a good time to do it, every 3rd or 4th week. That's going to kind of be my my schedule, 9:30 in the morning, get a fresh fade. I'm going to get a nice skin fade, and I like getting haircuts. You feel a lot better. You feel good about yourself. You don't feel like a piece of shit, and you don't feel like a Hitler side piece. What else? Oh, yeah, XFL. That's what we're kind of going at. The XFL. So it's interesting because, like I said, they're coming around right around social media, which I think is amazing. They're posting their entire football games on YouTube, which is genius, honestly. Like that's such a smart move to do. There's a guy named Andrew Schulz. He's in the comedy world. I wish I need like a producer or something so I can because whenever I say things, I really want to like copy them down so I can like put it in the description. You guys can like remember, like, so you guys know what you're about to watch. But his name is Andrew Schulz, and what he does is he's kind of like transformed. Dude, these cactuses need water so bad. Do I have any water? Not near me. I have water over there, but I have Diet Coke right here. I'm not going to feed these Diet Coke. I could, but that's probably not what they want. Diet Coke is like kills me. I don't want it to kill the plants. His name is Andrew Schulz, and he is a genius when it comes to like social media, and he's like selling out theaters now in comedy. Whereas I think like 4 years ago, he wasn't as popular as he is now. But what he does is he puts out content, takes clips, put them out on every social media platform. He put up an entire special on YouTube. So he's a genius when it comes to marketing. And the XFL is like the sports version of Andrew Schulz. So putting up like their entire football games on YouTube, which is genius because that's where the eyes are, right? And if they could get a deal with like Netflix or something, like that would be genius too. If you can get like a deal with Netflix or like Amazon Video or Amazon Prime, a place where the eyeballs are. Because the only issue I think with the NFL is that their social media is strong. They have a high following, but I think the XFL can really capitalize on that market. You can hit them while they're young, right? Because I think the NFL age is kind of getting a little bit older, and I don't think kids are as interested in NFL. Not because it's not fun to watch, but I think it's because kids themselves aren't playing football as much due to CTE discovery and all that stuff, all that good stuff. Not good stuff, but you know what I mean. All this research talking about brain injury and what happens if you get hit too many times, and so I think the NFL popularity is going to decrease. Because the younger age, I'm talking like between 4 to 12, those people, that age group, are most likely not going to grow up watching the NFL as much. And I also think the NFL is turning into it's a huge business now. And I think once anything gets too powerful, you kind of lose the essence of what it started from. And I think that's going to be a market cap that I think the XFL can capitalize because they can really crush it on social media because that's where the eyeballs are. And it's going to be just as violent as the NFL, but they can perceive it. Their perception to the kids could be something different, entertainment rather than go out and play, right? Because the NFL is so fascinating, I think, to a lot of people because you think like, I remember my football days, and you kind of relate to that. But if you could take that perception of the XFL, and instead of having that perception of I could have done that, you can, or I know how to do that. You have this perception, oh, this is cool, like it's entertainment, like a social media entertainment. I think the XFL has a huge opportunity when it comes to that. And they clearly have money because they have, I have the teams right here, 8 different teams. They're playing at nice fields, like nice stadiums, and I think they have decent players, and I think they're entertaining, and I think if they can keep pushing everything out on Twitter and XFL, Instagram, and I think the fact that they have, I think the fact that they're pushing so hard on a YouTube is a beautiful move. And I see like they're taking clips out and they're putting the clips out on YouTube, which is like that was my comparison to Andrew Schulz, is that's what he does on the social media side of the comedy world. He's known for putting out clips and stuff. Let me make sure my microphone's recording because sometimes I get very nervous. Apparently, so on this Rode podcaster, which is what I have to intake audio, and that's how I get my clips, and I edit. So this is how I do the podcast essentially. There's a red line that you don't want to go up to. I didn't know that. Like, this is how much of a podcast virgin I am. I don't understand exactly the whole concept of what the audio is really supposed to sound like. I just make sure it's lined up with my mouth and it's not too extreme. Like, I think the last video, all my P's sounded very aggressive, but I think I got to get like a boom mount for this thing. And also, I think the microphone is supposed to be like this, not like this. And I'm aware of that, but there's no way I can like get it like that in my room. I cannot fadangle it like that. Finagle that. Which sucks, but it is what it is. Oh my God, I just realized my camera is picking this thing up as a face. That's hilarious. And if you guys are just on audio, I'm moving my little brain guy. I have like a little brain guy that I have. He's like a little penny bank that my sister got me. I love this thing. But my camera picks that up as a face. Camera, that's not a real person. That's a fake person. It's not even a person. It's just a bust of a brain, of a head. Not a brain, just a head. But yeah, I think it's super interesting. And I know for at least where I live, like the DC area, the Redskins are a terrible team with a terrible organization. And the fan base is good. But, how much longer are they going to enjoy watching their team lose every year and get crushed and get embarrassed and squashed up and thrown away as the redheaded stepchild of the NFL? Sorry, Redskin fans. I'm kind of a Redskin fan. I'm maybe bandwagon, I guess you could say, but I grew up a Redskin fan, Packers fan. My mom's from Riverdale, which is right outside of D.C. My dad's from Wisconsin. So, but when times get tough and you got to choose a better team, so I chose the Packers to be a fan of because you get like assaulted if you enjoy two teams. If you enjoy like two of anything, like if your favorite piece is like pepperoni and then cheese, you can't do it, man. It's against the rules. You gotta like one or the other. But one of the games I was watching was the DC Defenders, I think, against the New York Guardians. Dude, the DC Defenders are amazing. Like Cardell Jones, which is I think he's a former first round pick. I think he didn't go far in the NFL and in the NFL because he couldn't manage his weight or something like that. But he's amazing in the XFL, and it's fun to watch. And I just think there's an energy around the XFL that they can capitalize on so hard if they just keep on pushing out content, like a piece of content at least 3 times a day, whether it's on Instagram or Snapchat. I think they could even do they show the games on Snapchat, on Twitter, on YouTube, on whatever, Amazon, Netflix. It doesn't matter. Just put out content. And I think as long as the entertainment's there, as long as it's like fast paced, I think that's the whole idea of the XFL. They have a huge market grab. I think they have a market grab from young people. Like I said, between 5 to 12, those people are going to be, in the next 10 years, you're looking at 15 to 22, which is a good age for the XFL. If you can connect to them on social media, I think that's really important. I think if you do if you allow the players to do a full tour of the stadiums or their teams or, a practice, through Snapchat or Instagram or Twitter, and you can do Q&As on Twitter. I think if you can connect, because the NFL players seem like gods to a lot of people. They're at this level that's above you. You know, as much as you love Tom Brady, you don't feel like Tom Brady could ever be a friend, right? Because he's too much of a god essentially for a lot of people. But if the XFL can kind of keep that down and feel like there's more of a connection with the fans while still maintaining a player popularity, I think it's huge. I really do. I think there's a huge market out there, and I think they have the possibility to really grow. Like bowling has been growing tremendously. Like I've gotten back into it. I've fallen from my obsession. If I was a drug addict, I would have just relapsed. Like I'm back into bowling, and I'm loving it. And I bowled a 208 game, and I'm just striking, and it's fun. And I'm about to buy a few balls, and I'm about to buy shoes. I'm probably going to buy a wrist strap. I'm probably going to join the league. And that's probably going to happen within the next 6 months. And I'm going to be talking about my bowling games within the next 6 months. I'm going to be talking about my team within the next 6 months. And you guys are going to be like, this guy's crazy. And I'll be like, I told you, I'm very obsessive. And I told myself I wasn't going to do it. And then I picked up a bowling ball, and I started doing it because I was lonely on Friday. And I went bowling, and I bowled 8 straight games. And now my forearm hurts. My middle finger is kind of inflamed, and I feel like I pulled a muscle in it, or maybe a ligament. And my bicep has like kind of bicep tendonitis again because of bowling, because I'm a little crazy. Just a little bit psychotic at sometimes, and that's what I've chosen to kind of make my obsession. Once again, I'm happy it's bowling, and it's not alcohol or it's not a drug, but it's bowling, which is so much fun to play. Got therapy on Wednesday, so that should go over well. Just one day because then she has to get her hip done, and so she's getting a new knee, so she won't be back till like April. But that's okay because I feel like within the past 48 hours over the weekend, I've really kind of dug myself out of a hole I was in, and I put myself around family, around my parents. I hung out with people, instead of just locking myself in my room and listening to Robert Sapolsky talk about human sexuality and aggression on lectures at Stanford. Instead of just reading all the time, I think I'm opening myself up to people, maybe I'm talking to people again. I don't know. I'm very introverted, and it's hard for me to even make that observation. But I do feel like I'm getting better. Like I'm waking up, and I don't want the day to I don't want a meteorite just to hit the planet. Like there was days where I was waking up, I just wanted a freaking meteorite to come down and just blow us up, because I was like, oh, this is stupid. I don't want to do this life thing again today. Awesome. Can't get it. Cool, man. Yeah, so there's a huge market out there, and I think the XFL has huge potential to grow, especially now since the MLB looks like, and I know it's a completely different, it's a sport, it's entertainment, but at the same time, the MLB they do share market space now with XFL because the seasons are overlapping. And the MLB has always struggled with capturing younger people. And they've been able to do it because of players like Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, Javier Baez, the guys, Ronald Acuna, just these young players for each team. And I think these young players connect with these kids, like Cody Bellinger, Aaron Judge. These guys are young. They're all between like 20 to 25. And I think that's what captures a younger crowd in. And I think that's good. But I think the MLB is in a sticky situation with the Astros, and the Astros got caught cheating. And I think we are not making it I think we're not making it as big of a deal as we maybe not as we should. But the truth of the matter is they were cheating. They stole signs, and they got a World Series out of it. And it's one of those things that, as an organization, Major League Baseball as a whole, you don't really want to talk about it because it's an embarrassment. It's wrong, and you don't want it to affect your business. And they have addressed it, and they took actions. But it's one of those things where I think the only action that actually matters and that is important is stripping away a World Series title. They try to do a lot of other things, suspending managers for years without pay, other managers. I think the GM's gone. Whatever. And there's probably some other things that they did. But it's really fascinating because the NFL went through this too with not penalizing people who beat up their girlfriends or making very lackadaisical processes with their courts when it comes to these violent crimes. Players who get caught with marijuana are getting suspended for life, whereas players who are caught on video beating the hell out of their kid or their girlfriend are allowed to play after a year of suspension. So you're dealing with very complicated issues, and you're giving very clean and both party accepted punishments, which is dangerous because I think what happened with the Astros and what they did and how they were stealing signs is not something that is like putting pine tar in a bat or cutting a baseball for a pitcher so they can get more spin on it. What happened was a entire organization co-opted and got together and designed a plan to cheat every day during practices. They probably got together and talked about it, and everybody was aware of it. And if you weren't aware of it, you weren't playing as well because you didn't partake in it. So eventually you did partake in it. And it's dangerous. It's really dangerous because the only acceptable punishment that's going to be ultimately viewed as the right punishment by players, by fans, by me, and by I think a lot of other people is to strip that World Series title away. Which is heavy implications because it's so hard to say, well, did they win the World Series because of that? It's hard to make that statement, but it's also hard to make the statement to say that stealing signs didn't have a significant advantage for them winning the World Series. And it's one of those things where cheating has always gone around in baseball, but because of technology, I don't think it's been as, aggressive. It's been always human cheating. But this was a lot of video taking, which is something that is so alien to sports organizations. And at the end of the day, when you win a World Series, it does so much for your team. You make more money, so you can sign players to longer contracts, especially in baseball where there's no salary cap. So the World Series, all it does is drives up your market value because there's more fans coming for a longer period of time. People are buying jerseys. People are buying products. And also you get it like a bonus from the MLB, I believe. So it's dangerous. It's really dangerous. And I think and now players are speaking out, and players that did cheat are not getting in trouble at all, which is, once again, you're walking a fine line, man. You're walking a fine line because players are, I think his name's, I don't know. I don't even know his name. Melfort, the CEO, the commissioner of MLB said, well, it wasn't the player's fault. Or not that it wasn't the player's fault, but the GM and the managers have to take responsibility for it. That's good. That's awesome. Cool. I get it. It starts at the top, and the top should get punished. But guess what? These are grown men playing a grown sport, aware of what they did. And they're not getting punished at all. And I think players around the league are realizing that. I'm not a player, obviously, so I don't know. I'm just speculating as a fan. But I think you're walking in some dangerous territory where there's going to be a lot of resentment when teams play the Astros. There's going to be a lot of sparks flying when teams come in to play against the Astros. And there's going to be a lot of resentment with fans of other teams looking towards the Astros. And there's going to be a lot of jaw clinching when the Astros come into town, or teams got to go play the Astros, and I think it's not good for the future of baseball, because in 10 years this could be the decision that started the stock market of MLB to go down, and I think they could save it possibly, maybe, if they stripped a World Series title away. I think that would have been the Dodgers who won the World Series that year. I think they're the ones who lost in 2018. I'm not 100% sure on that. It's 9:45. I'm drinking Diet Coke in the morning. 9:50, actually. I'm such a disgusting heathen. Um, but also, this is another huge opportunity for the XFL. Once again, I mean, their seasons line up with MLB, so there could be fans. And, there's overlap, definitely. NFL fans are MLB fans, and there's overlap all the time. So there could be a possible overlap in fans being stolen from the MLB because of the XFL, or because these fans want to be entertained during this time of the year. And if there's resentment towards the league, you might end up in leaving. Like, I can tell you an example of my father. My father didn't watch the NFL games for a while because the way that they did not treat their players correct. And it's a valid reason, not giving old players money, not compensating them for the lack of protection that they did not receive during their playing days, and with the concussions and medical health care, and them making so much money and not taking care of the players. They don't take care of the players, and they claim that they do, but the players that are supposed to be taken care of, they're coming out and saying, absolutely not. I'm making this much money where they're making that much money. You guys are making this much money. So all it takes is just like the stock market. All it takes is one event, like Elon getting on Joe Rogan and smoking a little bit of weed and the stock plummeting. I know it eventually came back up, but you're dealing with Elon there. But it could be a dangerous territory for the MLB, and it's all about perception. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's all, the way we view anything is all about perception. So if that perception is decreased and it's not as high, people talk to people, and that perception could be shared, and it could become a dangerous thing for MLB. And I love baseball. I love watching baseball, and even I have a, what the fuck? They're not getting in trouble, I mean, Springer and Altuve and Bregman. They're all good, man. They're out there. They said, I'm sorry for what we did. Now they're playing baseball. And there's no punishment. And it's, I'm just saying, as a company, as an organization, MLB might have to take stronger actions, suspending players maybe. If I don't know how you can do that, because you can't really decide what percentage of players were more active in stealing signs. But you got to do something, you really got to do something. And I think if you're the XFL, you should be foaming at the mouth of this opportunity. This is a huge opportunity for you guys to steal some market share, and to, on top of that, steal market share. And like I said, on top of that, grow your company. I don't know. I just think there's a lot of opportunities out there, and I'm not I obviously don't have any connections with the XFL, NFL, or the MLB, but I think you're dealing with a little trio right here that could be dangerous. And I know for like the DC area, the Redskins suck ass, and I think the fans in DC, they're kind of getting used to winning. I mean, they have the Capitals, which won the Stanley Cup 2 years ago, and I think they went to it again last year or whatever, but they're a great team. One of the best hockey teams in the league, if not the best. I'm not watching this year. I don't really watch it, but I'm talking DC as a whole. They love their hockey. And you have the Nationals, who just won the World Series in 2019. So baseball's good. You have basketball, which the Wizards are just, I think, like they're the worst team in the league. But every city has their bad team. But then you have the Redskins, who are just getting pummeled every year, and it doesn't look good for them in the future. And all I'm saying is, yes, they're watched. They're watched during the NFL season because they're diehard fans. But you could be looking at least, I don't know if this is speaking for all the cities around the country, but you could be looking at a situation where the XFL takes a lot of market share from the NFL for the cities. I see people tweeting out retweeting videos of like certain players, certain plays from that last game against the Defenders and the Guardians. And I hear people talking about it all the time. Are you watching the XFL? Have you heard of the XFL? They have that contract with ESPN, and ESPN's huge on TV, and they're posting it on YouTube and on Instagram and Twitter and whatever. It's a dangerous situation for the NFL, and I think especially the MLB, and I think they all have to be looking at it because they all share semi of the market industry. Just saying. But then again, I don't know what I'm talking about. It's just kind of my observations. So, you guys have heard me talk about this before. I just want to hit it one more time, and we only have like 10, 15 minutes left of this episode, which has gone by quickly. I like doing them in the morning. I feel like I have a lot. My mind isn't as polluted with stupid thoughts that I get throughout the day. It's much more easy for me to complete thoughts and ideas. I think I don't know, maybe not, but I'm not too sure. I get so anxious that it's not recording. But you guys know I've mentioned it all the time about this book that I read called Behave by Robert Sapolsky, who is a neuroendocrinologist. So he looks at the endocrine system of humans, and he's also a primatologist. So he studies primates out in Africa and Indonesia, especially bonobos. I think he loves bonobos, which is like this very highly sexually active ape. They're smaller than like chimps. They're a lot more peaceful than chimps, but they look like chimps, just like a smaller version. But don't get it twisted; they're not like chimps. Chimps will attack and kill and rip each other apart. Bonobos attack each other, but they're big into sex. Like everything is sex with them. Like for pleasure, for anger, for aggression, for whatever. It's always sex. I don't think zoos can even have them in their captivity. There might be like one or two zoos, but they just have sex all day. But he is a professor at the University of Stanford. And I say this again, and I'm going to keep repeating it. But we live in a day and age where college is around. People go to college, and it wasn't until this semester really where I'm starting to see, and it's stupid, I'm just naive, and I would assume that colleges would, obtain the top level of instructors. But we live in a day and age where not all the professors at universities are the same. Therefore, the information that we're receiving is not all the same. And with that being said, we also live in a day and age where you can obtain any level of education for free. And what I'm saying, and the reason why I'm saying that is because I am currently on episode 17 or lecture 17 of Robert Sapolsky. That is it's a 25 episode series, and every episode is a class. It's an hour and 40 class, so a 100-minute class that he is teaching to a lecturing hall at Stanford. And I'm on episode, I think, 17 or 18. It's Human Sexuality Part 3 and Aggression Part 1. And it starts from the beginning. And it's I don't think maybe people realize this, but I tell people this all the time because it's such a beautiful thing that this exists in this world. It's on YouTube. It's free. There is entire lectures at MIT, at Stanford. I'm assuming Harvard and Princeton and Yale. Maybe I haven't looked at those. I do MIT for like math, and I love Stanford because Robert Sapolsky's there. But their entire lectures recorded up on YouTube. An entire lecture, everything except for the test. This book, Robert Sapolsky, is a beautiful book. I think it's like a 700, 800 page book written by him, all about human behavior. But I'm currently listening to his lecture because I didn't finish it all the way. I finished like 15 episodes, and then I listened to like the schizophrenia one. But I'm currently getting a Stanford education in a class, human biology, by one of the top professors in the entire world. I'm getting that for free while I'm also going to Towson and I'm learning about business. It's such a It's such a beautiful thing. And if you look at this, if you look at his videos and you watch any of them, he's getting hundreds and hundreds of thousands, millions of views on lectures. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that one of the best ways, in my opinion, to gain confidence, one of the best ways, in my opinion, to become a more competent being and to become somebody who is much easier to associate or to have conversations with other people is to decrease your level of ignorance and to decrease fear. You look at extreme groups, whether it's the Nazis, whether it's the KKK, these people everything that they act out of is fear and ignorance and not having a true knowledge on what people are and certain people are in different races and ethnicities and why people do what they do. And with that being said, the second step is, well, how do you overcome that fear? How do you decrease this level of ignorance and you learn about different groups of people and why certain people act the way they do and why some people are the way they are, And I know that the way that you do that is you learn. You learn about these different groups of humans, and you learn about the differences between genders, and you learn about our ancestors, and you learn about other animals and how they react to certain things, and you learn about the importance of sleep and the importance of conversation and the importance of maintaining a level of mental health and the importance of exercise and the importance of nutrition and what to eat and what not to eat. You learn about these things, but how do you learn them if you don't live in a world where it's out there? You can't, but we do. We live in a world where you can log on to YouTube. You don't even need an account. You can Google Stanford lectures, and there's tens. There's 30, 40 lectures, everything from art history to world history to Eastern European literature to I'm listening to human biology or evolutional human biology with Robert Sapolsky. There's linear algebra. There's calculus. There's all these beautiful fields of studies by these top lecturers. And I'm telling you, it is fascinating stuff. It is so fascinating. But the only thing that you have to do to listen to these is you have to drop the fear. You have to understand that, yes, you don't know these things, and that's why you don't want to learn them, because you're fearful of learning them. It's a ego. I think it attacks your ego. This is just my theory, but I think people don't want to increase their intelligence because they don't want to be a baby again and have to learn something new again. But it's beautiful, man. It's a beautiful thing to be able to go to class all day and learn about business up to an extent to the capabilities that Towson can provide us with education. And I'm not taking a shot at them. I understand what Towson is. But you can, from that, being able to listen to that and picking up valuable points from all my professors and students or peers among me, and then being able to transfer yourself right to a computer where you're listening to Robert Sapolsky talk about symmetry in the face and like sexual attraction because of symmetry, and like certain gazelles and gazelles mating with, what bigger antlers. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. But then being able to order any book you want on Amazon and being able to read about, like I'm about to read about Americana, which is a book written by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I completely butchered that like a white fucking male, but like an idiot I am. But it's all about a Nigerian woman coming to America and the differences, the culture differences. I picked up that book because I was just in my ethical class and I was listening to all these people in my class who predominantly were African-American men and female. I think I was the only white male, me and one other guy next to me. And they were all talking about like how it is to be an African-American in the United States of America and what their parents had to go through. And I'm like, what the hell? I don't know. Like, I feel like a arrogant asshole. Like, I want to learn about it. So I picked up a book and then I'm going to read about it. I think it's so important to keep on educating yourself. God, that's the most important thing, because I think there's a strong correlation with the lack of education, ignorance, and racism, and bigotry, and homosexuality. Not homosexuality. What's anti-homosexuality? People who hate gay people, because they're fearful. They don't understand the culture. They don't understand the homosexual community. There's books out there you can read about them. You can listen to these people talk. And I think it's so important to do that. I think I always pushing it so hard. And you guys are probably so bored of listening to me to talk about it. But increasing your knowledge or awareness, at least your awareness on certain subjects, is so important. And I think it makes you happier, because you feel smarter, you feel more competent, and on top of that, you feel more capable of interacting with humans. And honestly, at the end of the day, being a bigot and being somebody who is racist and being someone who is an asshole is not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling. Like, you don't want to do, like, that's not a good feeling. Deep down inside, it's hard. It's literally harder, unless you're a full-blown sociopath or a psychopath. It's harder in your heart, like when you do something that's uncomfortable and that is, was wrong, you hold guilt inside of your body. And that doesn't just, the closed in feeling is, there's actually anatomy, and there's it's physiologically, it's affecting your body, but anyways, we are coming to the end of this podcast, and we are coming to the end of the podcast, and I just want to say thank you guys so much for sticking with me through all these episodes. But I got a Diet Coke mustache at 10 to 7 in the morning, which is disgusting. I've been up since 7, which isn't even that early, but I worked. I don't know. There's no excuse. I shouldn't be drinking Diet Coke this early in the morning. But if you guys didn't make it this far, please, once again, I'm going to reiterate it again. Please leave it a rating. Please leave it a comment. Please like it. Please show some love. It helps me out tremendously, like Joey Diaz says. Written comment, 5-star rating, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell on YouTube. Guys, I'll catch you guys on Thursday. Have a beautiful, blessed day, and be good to yourself, be good to others.